An impartial bid process. You just can't do the good old boy style. It just doesn't work.
Explain that, Tony. Explain fair and impartial.
Fair and impartial.
No, explain it all the way. You want to talk about it? Explain it.
I don't think that it was bid the same. The bids are two totally different bids. They're not.
Right. So
they're not the same.
So how is it not fair?
Because it wasn't presented correctly to get bids apples to apples.
Didn't say that. Don't say, but don't say fair and impartial.
Okay, well, all right, we'll just say, I'll scratch that.
Talk about it the right way, because
all right, I'll scratch that part.
That upsets folks.
So the bid needs to be bid where everybody's bidding the same thing. Because kind of what happened, it looks like to me, after looking at it, is Republic bid just what it was asked. And once the billing's figured out, that's got to be added on Republic's bid, and those kind of things. And y'all were just the opposite. Y'all bid everything at the top, and it needs to be bid to where everybody's on the same page, so it's fair. I mean, that's correct. I mean, it's fair to the people of Kennett. I mean, the bids are so far apart, and like I said, the meeting I was in here before, I think if you sat down and said, here's what we want, exactly what we want, nothing more, nothing less, I think those bids will do like this. And that's what needs to be done. But before any of that's done, you've got to figure out how you're going to build the thing. You just can't assume that it's going to be done this way or that way. And then you got to figure out if doing it that way helps the problem. I mean, I drove around Kennett, and I just drove all over Kennett. And what I found was different than what I thought. The housing authority, all the Mako properties, all the properties over by Jones Park are very clean. They all have trash service. It's not a problem. We have problems in other areas. And how to solve that problem is really what we need to work on. It's not what I thought it would have been when I ran around and looked at everything. Everybody I talked to says Sharp does a great job. Everybody I talk to says Republic does a great job. All the different cities that I talk to that have one or the other. And I don't think really it needs to be that's where our problem is. It's not, our problem is one person bid to just pick up trash, nothing more, nothing less, and one person bid a whole bunch of other stuff. And I mean, we need to, if citywide cleanup, you want it to be in front of everybody's house, well, that's what, put that in the bid. We want citywide cleanup, one bid to put trash, big dumpsters out twice a year, and one bid to pick up once a year at the curb. If that's what you want, let's put it in the bid process. And then if whoever bids it, whether it's Republic or whomever, can't do that, don't bid it. And I don't know, I was going to ask Terry, why can't the city write a contract that says this is what we want, this is a contract, we're going to bid it, and then we're going to stick somebody's name at the top, we're going to sign it. So that everything in it, instead of bidding it and then them coming back with the contract, we write the contract, this is what we want.
Of course we can do that.
And then go out and say, you take it to your people, you take it to your people, and say, we can't do that, don't bid it. And that would put everybody on the same page.
Not everybody.
No, so here lies the problem, Tony. The city put out a bid, or they put out a notice in the paper to bid on the citywide trash service. Sharp Disposal won the bid. Now we've created a committee a month later. This is totally backwards.
Yeah, because I've done moved on to other contracts because y'all gave this a month later.
Yeah, I mean, we want a bid. And I say we because I'm very invested in Sharp's business.
I understand that.
But, so therein lies the problem here.
Okay,
we won the bid.
Oh, so here's my question.
Okay.
All right, so you want a bid that was improperly bid as far as I'm concerned. It was improperly, I mean, you can say what you want to, you can take
regardless of the fact it was accepted. So
it was accepted, but that's not contractually.
There's no contract.
There's no contract.
Exactly.
But we also want a bid in minutes.
Do what?
We want a bid, period, fair and square. We want a bid. Oh, we didn't? Oh, we didn't win the bid? You didn't vote to go with it?
You were awarded a bid.
Yeah, oh, one awarded, goddamn. Same thing. You guys said, the city said, let's go with Sharp Skull.
Yeah, I agree.
And so here we are a month later with the committee to figure out what to do. We should have done this 6 months ago.
Should be agreeing on
Yeah,
the
all that
terms.
stuff should have been done before all of this comes. We're behind. We're doing everything
That
backwards.
was on,
There was no buddy thing in it. I'm not buddies with
And
anybody.
that's literally what I said earlier.
And we sit down with the bids that night over at, in an open meeting, and we discussed those bids. And we looked at them. We didn't make a recommendation that night, but we looked at those bids. And we looked like the $14. On the fuel, you can raise the bid, the price up 14 to whatever. How much does your fuel have to be and how much percentage before you raise the price up?
It's not gonna be raised without city approval.
Yeah, that is a question I've got for you, or all y'all, everybody on the council. I talked to one council member this weekend, and he told me all the stuff that was so bad about the bid from
Who was that?
Republic.
May I say something first, is that Republic was told that was a closed meeting.
It was not a closed meeting.
I have it in an email that we were told that was a closed meeting. That is why Republic was not there at that meeting.
I kind of think we need to kind of establish a ground rule here today, that things have happened, and it's like, how do we move forward now instead of revisiting things? I read the paper, the back of it every week, and see other cities put things out for bid. And they're very clear, we want a request for proposals, see our office for the details, so that a company, whatever kind of company, can respond on an equal playing field with anyone else who's interested. That's the piece that was missing here, and that's what we've got to try and fix, and it's for the benefit of the people of Kennett. It's what works for the people here, that the council and everyone else, and the people who are volunteering to be on the committee, are trying to do the right thing for the people.
I agree. Well, so if you read this section right here, it says Republic can increase without.
That's what
Okay.
you got right.
So I spoke with one council member, and he told me all the bad things in the Republic's bid. The one thing he did tell me at the end was, because I said, I'm looking at the bid, I don't see this stuff you're telling me about. And he said, so have you ever read it? And he said, well, no. You've never seen it.
I have read it, and that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
And I have a hang up on the building. My problem with the building is, if they don't pay the bill, I don't see the city coming in and pay for
Well, the
trash.
contract, this contract that Sharp presented says the same
It's
thing.
the exact same thing.
I have the same, I agree.
But the thing you gotta think about on this is, regardless of who it is, whether it's Sharp, and I said this at that one meeting, if he picks up 5,000 cans, he deserves to be paid for that
And I
5,000
agree.
cans.
And I would, myself, I would rather for them to do the billing, to where we don't get caught up in
Sure.
the city paying for trash bills.
Well, here's the deal, we won the bid, we're willing to negotiate whatever contract you want to do. If you want us to bill it, sure, we'll bill it ourselves, and we can take out what we thought was gonna be a great thing for the city of Kennett to help clean it up, a donation, we'll take that out, so it'll be cheap. If you wanna negotiate the bid that we won, we're willing.
But I don't really think that's how bids work. I don't think you bid them and then you go.
No, how bids work, is you put it out for bid, and then the council votes, so we win it, and then we go on about our business. That's how bids work. But now we're
But
making
you know
a
that-
committee 6 months later.
But your contract doesn't even have some of the things that are on your bid.
That was the contract that was presented, to be looked at. We put our stuff in there, you put your stuff in there, whatever, to be negotiated.
The terms.
The terms, that's
That's
how it
how we
works.
did with all the other cities
And,
that we know.
and under contract, I have a hang up there is the transfer sale of the contract.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't like that in the contract.
You know, and I'm in agreement 100% on that, because I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna ask Mr. Sharp or Marco to talk, I don't care. At Portageville, you've got a 90-day, either one can change, correct? At 90 days, Portageville told me that either party could get out of the contract with a 90-day notice if they're not happy.
Written notice, yeah.
Yeah, written notice.
Written notice.
Yeah, written notice, yeah,
All
exactly.
contracts are different.
And I think that's something that could be added into the contract with the sale of the company. We got a 90 days to rebid or talk about something else, but I know it's not fair, you're saying it's not fair to you,
Absolutely
but
not.
it's also not fair to the Republic to
They got
have.
75 stops here. I've got over 4,000 stops here. Come on.
It's not fair to the citizens of Kennett.
Wait, 4,000 yet?
Yeah.
Now we're gonna hear from the third party that has more than anybody else in this room riding on what we're talking about. Because if Sharps doesn't end up with a bid, they're gonna keep picking up trash like they were before. And the Republic, I think, is probably gonna survive if they don't get Kennett.
I
The other half
understand.
of the night, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, I
I'm
do
gonna say my
understand.
piece and I'm gonna leave before I
Mr.
get
Wheeler.
angry.
Mr. Wheeler, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Did you not come stand in front of this podium 6 months ago and say that the lowest bid was not always the best bid?
yes, that is correct. However, and to further, if you want to call this violation or sneaky, I made a printout explaining, no, just, you leave me alone and let me say my piece. I gave everybody a printout that was on the council, gave it to Brenda to put in your mailbox, explaining why I was the best bid, though I was not gonna be the lowest. I was gonna be third. I certainly can't compete with Republic. And I wasn't gonna be able to compete with Sharp. So I knew, even with that submission, that when this went, and I stood